So now let's talk about different types of Kubernetes service we have. So first of all, what is a Kubernetes service? A Kubernetes service is a way of exposing your application which is running as a pod in your Kubernetes cluster. So you may want to expose your application internally within the cluster or externally to the outside world, right? So based on that, there are certain types of Kubernetes service. So we have first is the cluster IP, second is the NodePort, and third is the load balancer. And just a general overview. So the cluster IP is just a normal type of service. So whenever we create a pod and we don't create a service, so by default cluster IP service will be created for that particular pod. And if we want to expose my application to the outside world, we have NodePort type service and the load balancer type service. Okay. And now we're going to talk about each one of them. So first let's discuss what is cluster IP. So cluster IP is the default service that enables the communication of multiple pods within the cluster. So let's say you have two worker nodes and on both the worker nodes, one pod is running. So by default, they can communicate to each other using their cluster IP service. And your service by default, whenever you create a service and you don't specify a service type, that means service will be exposed as a cluster IP. Okay. And it cannot be accessed from outside the internet, meaning a user on the internet will not be able to browse this cluster IP service, right? It is just used for the internal communication between the pods. That's it. But there is a way like how you can expose your cluster IP service on your local machine. So the way is by running the kubectl proxy command. So kubectl proxy command will give your an access on the browser, so you can browse your application using your local host. Okay. And this type of service again is used for internal networking between your workloads while debugging your service, display internal dashboards, and etc. So again, this is useful when you want the internal communication should be there between your application and no external traffic should come to your pods. That's where cluster IP comes handy. Alright, so this is just an example. So you can see that we have a cluster IP service. So as I said, if you want to expose this, by default this service is not exposed to the outside world, right? But using the kubectl proxy command, it will give us a proxy, so we can browse our applications on our browser using the local host on our local machine, okay, with the help of kubectl's proxy command. All right, so now let's talk about the NodePort service. As I said, NodePort is a simplest way of exposing your application to the outside world. It requires no configuration and simply routes the traffic on a random port on the host to a random port on the container. So there is a NodePort range that is lies between 30,000 to 32768. So any port in between that range can be used as a NodePort. And this is suitable for most of the use cases, but it has some disadvantages. So if we talk about the disadvantages of a NodePort service, means you can only expose one single service per port, and container IPs will be different each time the pod starts. So basically your IP will change each time a pod is restarting, and the container cannot access localhost from outside of the pod as there is no IP configured. Okay, so let's see this into action. So we have a user. So this is our worker node, okay, and this is my pod which is running inside a worker node. So what we did is we created, to expose this pod to the outside world, we created a NodePort service, and this particular port is the NodePort. As I said, this NodePort lies in the range between 30,000 to 32768. So we can see that the port number assigned to this particular NodePort is 30080. So user will type this particular IP, that is the IP of my worker node colon the NodePort, to access my particular application running on this particular worker node. Access node host IP, that is this particular host colon the 30080, okay, to access this particular port. And the port, this is the target port and this is my NodePort service port. Okay, so one would be able to contact the NodePort service from outside the cluster by requesting the node IP and the NodePort. In our case, what is the NodePort? 30080. All right, and the port on the pod is called the target port, and the one connecting to NodePort service is called the port simply. So this port is simply called the port, and this is the target port. So any request coming into port 30080 to the cluster on any worker node will be forwarded to the NodePort service, which in turn forward the request to the underlying pod at port number 80. Right? So the service will first come to this node IP colon the node port. Then from node port it will go to this particular port 80 and it will forward it to the pod on port 80, that is your application. So that's how your NodePort service works in general. Now the last way of exposing my application to the outside world, and the one of the most simplest way, is load balancer service. So load balancer comes into picture when we are talking about deploying our Kubernetes pods on AWS cloud or Azure or Google Cloud, etc. Alright, so whenever we create a load balancer type service, NodePort and ClusterIP service are automatically created to which the external load balancer will route. So here let's see, the traffic will come onto my load balancer. This request will be forwarded to my NodePort, and then from NodePort it will be forwarded to my ClusterIP, and then ClusterIP to my pod. Okay, that's how the load balancer works. So this is just an example of load balancer type service. You can see that I have specified the type as load balancer. Here the name of my service is webf-service, and I have specified that this is, I am deploying this on AWS cloud. So there is an annotation that is AWS load balancer internal is true. So this is just an example of an internal load balancer. Meaning, what is an internal load balancer? Means that it is not used to browse my application to the outside world. We just use this load balancer to talk to my application within my environment. Alright, so we have specified the port and the target port. Okay, so this target port is the port on which my application is running, and this is the port of the simple NodePort service port. Okay, so this is just an example of how the load balancer service works. Now to summarize the difference at the end, what is the difference between ClusterIP, NodePort and the load balancer? So let's again summarize this. So first of all, as we discussed, that ClusterIP will expose the service as an internal IP in the cluster. NodePort will expose the service to external clients, and load balancer also will expose the service to external clients. And this type makes the service only reachable from within the cluster. As I said, this is only used for internal communication, whereas NodePort and load balancer is used for exposing my application to the outside world. In case of NodePort, each node, that is each worker node, will opens a port to the node itself and redirects the traffic received on that particular node port to the underlying service. Whereas the load balancer service is accessible through a dedicated load balancer provision from the cloud infrastructure. Okay, so and here we can see that it is the default type of service. So whenever we are not specifying any service type, by default ClusterIP service will be provisioned. Whereas the NodePort service is accessible as an internal ClusterIP port and also through a dedicated port on all the nodes. So this is the range I was talking about, 30,000 to 32767. The type is ClusterIP, the type is NodePort, and the type is load balancer when you're creating your YAMLs. So you need to specify this particular types. Okay, and so in order to the port range, obviously the any public IP from the cluster, right? Just remember that whenever we create a load balancer, behind the hood, NodePort and ClusterIP will be created. Whenever we are creating a NodePort, ClusterIP will be created behind the hood. Okay, so remember this thing, and that's how the general difference between the ClusterIP, NodePort, and the load balancer. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. If you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section. I will be more than happy to answer your query. In the next lecture, we'll be discussing about what is Ingress. So I'll see you in the next lecture. Thank you.